Hi guys, it's Natalie, and today I just want to talk about a few things that were really surprising or really strange or really weird that I experienced when I was in Seoul, South Korea. Just as a disclaimer for this video, obviously not everyone in Korea is the same, so my experiences aren't really valid of the whole people of Korea. And if I say something about like how people treated me when I was in Korea and things like that, I understand that not everyone is the same in Korea, and so not everyone has these views, but this was just from my personal experiences when I was in Korea. So the first thing, which is more about the environment of Korea, was the smog. Korea has really, really bad smog, and I feel like nobody really talks about it that much. It was really bad when I was there. I noticed that while walking, I have a lot of trouble breathing, and there's mountains all around Seoul, and like you couldn't see the mountains half the time because they were covered by like thick smog, and the sun, you could like look at the sun because it was like behind the smog. And out of all the days I was there were only 2 days where there was like some sort of a blue sky. And in my vlogs, which I'll just link everywhere, link up here, link down there, in my vlogs I pointed out like the 2 times that there was a blue sky, and pretty much every other time in my vlogs it's either raining or like really cloudy or just like very smoggy. So that was an issue. Another thing that for me I experienced while I was in Korea, but probably not everyone will experience in Korea, was the whole foreigner thing, or 외국인. Lots of people in Korea do have a bias towards obvious foreigners. So obvious foreigners, someone like me who is white coming to Korea, which is a very homogenous society. I'm obviously different, and I am obviously not Korean, so it's slightly shocking to some people to see someone like me, especially when I went to Andong, which is sort of like in the middle of Korea. The people there aren't very used to seeing many foreigners, and I was at a convenience store, and this one lady was like laughing at me when I said like 감사합니다, when I was like, she like handed me my bag. She was like laughing because she was like, had never seen a foreigner. And it was just a little weird for me because I live in America, and in America there's people of all races, and so it's normal to see anyone. But in Korea they're not entirely used to seeing foreigners yet. It was just really different and strange for many Korean people to see me, and the reaction was very interesting. There are many people that are really excited and really happy to see foreigners, like the lady in the convenience store, but there's also many people that are not so happy to see foreigners, and you hear things on the subway like, why are there so many foreigners? Or like, you just hear things like that when you're around. It's definitely interesting to see how the Korean people are so split on this foreigner issue, because it's not really like you can assign it to an age either. There are many older people that love foreigners. Like when I was in this one part of Seoul, we were doing like a street food tour, and I showed that in one of my vlogs, and they were like old men everywhere, like following us and staring, and lots of people were taking pictures, and it's weird and interesting. But then you also go to other places where people are like, I hate foreigners, like get them away from me, like very like foreigners are a disease to the country sort of a vibe. And it's just very split, and it's of people of all ages, so it's not necessarily like old people, because there are plenty of old people that loved us, but there were also plenty of old people that didn't. One thing that I feel like not very many YouTubers talk about, this one thing in particular, but it's the whole thing with toilets and toilet paper in Korea. And for me, sitting on toilets in Korea, they're a little bit low for me. I am quite tall. I'm like 5'7", and so I have to do a very deep squat when sitting on a toilet in Korea. And I only ever experienced squatting toilets once when I was in Korea, and I was at a rest stop. So that's the only time I ever experienced the squatting toilets where it's like a hole in the ground. But they also had normal toilets, or I guess like normal toilets. In like toilet stalls, there's like a garbage can in the same room. And in America, there isn't necessarily a garbage can. There's like a thing on the wall for like in the female restroom. Female restroom. There's like a thing where you put in like sanitary products. but there's like actual like garbage cans in each one, and it's because after you wipe, you throw away the toilet paper, you don't put it in the toilet. And this is to help like avoid backups and things in toilets. But I just thought it was really weird because I had never put toilet paper in a like trash can before, and usually I would forget, and then I'd like worried because as soon as I'd like flush the toilet, I'd be like, oh my god, wait, but it was always fine. So I wonder about how much toilet paper they think that people use, but yeah. This is one thing that is sort of strange to be talking about because I don't feel like it's... People in Korea love to smoke cigarettes, and I don't really understand it because in America, there's, in high schools and everything, there's huge like anti-smoking things, and where I live, like, it's like huge, like no cigarettes is like a really big thing, and like I don't really know anyone that smokes cigarettes. And walking across the street, there's all sorts of laws, like you have to be like 15 like feet away from a doorway. There's like not very many people smoking everywhere. There's usually a smoking designated zone. But in Korea, people are smoking everywhere. You go down an alley and it's like a bunch of people smoking. And usually in America, when people smoke, I mean, there is a range of ages, but usually it's older people because it was like normal when they were younger. But in Korea, it's mainly young people smoking. And that totally like freaked me out because I was like, they're all gonna get lung cancer and die. Because like that's been totally ingrained into me. But they were just young people everywhere smoking. They still have this sort of mentality that it seems that smoking's like, oh, look at me, I'm like smoking and I'm cool. Whereas in America, it's like you're smoking and it's like, that's not really cool. Like in the 80s, it was like, I'm smoking and I'm cool. But like in Korea now, it's like, I'm smoking and I'm cool. And I'm like, lung cancer isn't cool. Another really big thing that a lot of people talk about, and I can really say that this applies to like almost every Korean person because I was in lots of places in Seoul and it was like everywhere, and that's that people are dressed nice. People everywhere like look very presentable. They just look very fashionable, and like that makes me feel like I need to like dress up. So now I'm like, you know, like can't go outside wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt. You have to go outside and you have to like look nice. We sort of discussed this in our classroom a couple times, but in Korean there's the phrase to be wrong, and that phrase is synonymous with the phrase to be different. And so there's sort of this like very negative viewpoint on like being different, like dressing different, like doing different stuff. But so like people, although in Korea they're all very fashionable, they all sort of are wearing the same thing. Like right now, a really big trend in Korea is oversized t-shirts and then like shorts, and pretty much every single girl was dressed like that. It's just very interesting how like trends are just like really wide in Korea, and how people like everyone's on trends in Korea. So that was just another really interesting thing. So those are just a few things that I noticed when I was in Korea that were surprising and different compared to my American life. If you guys found any of these things like more interesting and you want a whole video about that one thing in particular, my experience on it, then tell me down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and